Hello, my friends. It is Saturday, January 31st, and as promised, I wanted to come on and make a video breaking down the TPS situation related to Burma. So about 2 days ago, I made a video breaking down what was happening with TPS related to Haiti and Venezuela, how that ruling came out, and how we're waiting to see how the Department of Homeland Security will respond. On that video, I got multiple comments from folks asking if I could break down what's going on with TPS status for people from Burma, who you may know as Myanmar, depending on your political background. And so I just wanted to come on and give some context and some information about that. Full disclaimer, as I always say, I am not a lawyer. I am a writer, I am a journalist, I am a researcher. I have worked with lawyers, I have worked with law enforcement in that sort of a capacity. That is where my lens is. So I do my best to break these things down in ways that I can understand them, to report on in a way that hopefully you can also get some value from. So let's just jump right in. So first and foremost, Burma is one of the countries that the Department of Homeland Security attempted to just straight revoke TPS status from. Now, TPS, if you didn't watch my other video, stands for Temporary Protected Status. And that is essentially a status that's given by the US government through the Department of Homeland Security that says if you're here in the United States and something catastrophic happens in your country of origin, a huge natural disaster like an earthquake or a flood, if there's a military coup, if their government crumbles, if another country declares war and starts bombing, that you can be declared here TPS, which means that you are protected to stay and work legally in the United States while your country of origin is getting fixed, essentially. So normally when a country is designated TPS status, what happens is they make an evaluation of the conditions of the country of origin. They designate TPS, and it can be designated for 6 months, 12 months, 18 months. At that expiration date, what the government is supposed to do is then sit down and review, is TPS status still required? Have they rebuilt the infrastructure in that country of origin? Has the war been managed? Has the government been stabilized, etc., etc.? Whatever condition allowed you to not have to go home, has that condition been resolved or not? If not, historically what they have done has extended that TPS status, which, like I said in my other video, is why there are folks who've been in the United States on protected TPS status since the 1990s, because their countries of origin have never been stabilized. Now, knowing that, if you're watching this video because you're affected by the situation in Burma, I don't need to give you a long history lesson there to understand why it is absolutely still unsafe for folks who are here on TPS status to return to Burma at this current time. So that brings us to the ruling. 7 individuals from Burma, 7 Burmese does, as they're called throughout the filings, filed a lawsuit against the government stating that their revocation of TPS violated their rights. And the judge ruled on that. So a judge out of Illinois, actually out of the Chicago court system, recently ruled that TPS protections that were supposed to end on January 26th cannot end, as the situation in Burma has not been stabilized. To cut a whole lengthy, I think it was like 60 or 70 page legal document down for you, essentially what the courts ruled was that Department of Homeland Security and the United States government did not do their due diligence in actually following through to look and verify if Burma was safe for the return of these TPS holders. And they also go in there, very similarly to the ruling about Haiti and Venezuela, talking about how they found racial animus. So basically in the ruling they say, we do not feel that the US government is in good faith ending these TPS protections because they have not done their due diligence. They have not done the legal process that we require to show that Burma is restabilized and safe for these people to return home to. They say instead, it seems that the decision to revoke TPS status for people from Burma is solely rooted in racial beliefs, racial ideology, the idea that certain people should not be allowed to live or thrive within the United States. And this ruling states that they felt like the people who have TPS status from Burma were designated a danger based on stereotypes instead of provable legal fact. And while the United States government says the fact that Burma recently had an election, the court system says the fact that they had an election, we can clearly see, does not change the fact that they are still being operated and controlled by a military junta regime who is not protecting their people. And to send these folks back would be patently unsafe, that it would actually do irreparable harm to their beings. So, long story short, what the court ruled is that TPS status for Burmese individuals cannot end as they wanted it to on the 26th. It must be extended because according to the laws of how TPS is structured, the court can say they have not proven or done their due diligence in sending these folks back. Essentially what the court is saying here is that that date they had said that TPS status will end for folks from Burma, which was January 26th, is postponed. The government cannot move forward in doing anything related to your designated status as an individual from Burma until this case is meets its conclusion, right? So this case has to continue its way through the legal process because most likely will be appealed, as some of these other decisions by the courts have been appealed by Department of Homeland Security. In that filing, that secondary filing, which came out after the main filing, it outlines that this determination means that they cannot terminate status of Burmese individuals. They cannot terminate your work license. It cannot impact your ability to have legal employment. It cannot impact your ability to legally say you are in the country under legal protection of TPS status. They cannot revoke. They cannot remove. Now, that, again, is just until this broader case continues its way through the court system. This is basically the court's ways of saying, stop, pause, you can't do that, but the case isn't closed. We need to figure out what actually happens next. So for now, if you have TPS protections through Burma, my understanding is that everything is just kind of in a pause place. You have not lost your designation did not expire, you are not undocumented, your TPS designation is still affirmed by the court. It is a wait and see what will happen next, which is unfortunately the situation we're in with most of these populations who are dealing with this immigration nightmare right now. So again, if you have been worried about your Burmese TPS status, the court has put a pause, put a stay on their decision to terminate that program, which means for a little bit longer at least, you can breathe easy, you can continue to use your work permit, you are continued to be legally documented here. And I think very similarly to the ruling we saw related to Venezuela and Haiti, it is not that Department of Homeland Security doesn't have the authority to end these programs. They absolutely do. That power is built into their office. They have the power to designate TPS. They have the power to exterminate TPS. The issue here legally with most of these TPS cases is not whether these people deserve TPS status. It's about Department of Homeland Security's attempt to eliminate these protections as though they didn't exist, taking you essentially from protected to undocumented overnight by rolling back time and saying, oh, that legal designation we gave you, whoops, that doesn't exist anymore. So retroactively, you've been here illegally this entire time. I hope this makes sense. Please let me know your specific questions, and I will try my best to break them down for you. As always, I will link everything down there that you want to look at so you can read it yourself.